Okay, so I just finished the third book in the Nevermoor series by Jessica Townsend, and oh my goodness, my mind was blown. Yet again, Jessica Townsend transported me to this absolutely incredible, whimsical, magical world for me to get lost in. But most importantly, she gave me hope that this pandemic that we're all living through at the moment is going to end. And how wonderful is that? Hey, it's Jazz at Red Panda Reads, and today I'm going to try and convince you why you should read the Nevermoor series by Jessica Townsend. So, the Nevermoor series so far consists of 3 books, but Jessica's planning on writing 9 in total. And it is a middle grade series, so target audience between 9 to 12 years old. But honestly, I think any age, any fantasy lover is going to love this book. Even if you don't love fantasy, I don't see how you can't be charmed by Jessica's writing. But it basically follows a young girl called Morrigan Crow, who is shunned by the society she lives in because she was born on a certain date, which makes her a cursed child. So everything bad that happens around her is associated with her. And on the eve of her 11th birthday, she is going to be killed. And Morrigan has known this her whole life. She's grown up knowing that on the eve of her 11th birthday, she will die because she is cursed, and therefore that's just fact. And instead of dying, she gets whisked away by this extremely eccentric man named Jupiter North, who takes her to the wonderful world of Nevermoor and basically enrolls her into a series of trials to get into this society called the Wondrous Society, where people with special gifts, which they name knacks in this book, go and get educated and also taught how to use their knacks. So a knack can be anything from having amazing abilities of healing to be able to ride dragons, to being able to grow hair within seconds. So you could kind of grow hair that was so long that you could do anything from like trip over your enemies to create a fur gown from your own hair. So knacks can literally be anything. The first book, which is Nevermoor, The Trials of Morrigan Crow, follows Morrigan as she's undertaking the trials to get into the Wondrous Society. The second book follows the year after this, which is called Wundersmith, The Calling of Morrigan Crow. And then the third book, which I've just finished, is the year after the last one and it takes place during a pandemic of sorts, and that is called Hollowpox, The Hunt for Morrigan Crow. And may I just point out that Jessica Townsend wrote Hollowpox prior to COVID-19. It was supposed to be released in February, and I'm really glad Jessica Townsend went on and released it, because although it has very many similar themes to what's actually happening in our reality at the moment, for example, quarantine, people dying from this illness that no one quite knows how to cure, high infection rates, although it has all those things, there's also this kind of idea throughout the book full of hope, and it makes you almost, by experiencing a pandemic in a fictional world of magic and fantasy, it's kind of comforting because you see how Morrigan deals with it, and it makes you feel like you can deal with it as well. So why should you read these books? Well, firstly, the world that it is set in is just mesmerizing. So there are so many quirks about Nevermoor, and at times it's almost ridiculous, but in a beautiful, childish way. And I kind of wish I'd grown up with these books, because I love them now as an adult, but as a child, when I had all those creative juices flowing through me, it would have just sparked my imagination. So for example, the home that Morrigan lives in is a hotel known as the Hotel Deucalion, and it's this magical hotel which changes depending on its mood. So if it's fed up of one chandelier, it will form a new one. With Morrigan's bedroom, it will kind of change to try and make Morrigan happy. So if Morrigan's absolutely exhausted, has had a really hard day, maybe lots of like, I don't know, physical activity, it will create this absolutely gorgeous nest of cushions. If Morrigan one day says something a bit like, oh, I don't really like what you've done here, and a bit of a, like, you know, yeah, what have you done, bedroom? The bedroom will get upset, and therefore, consequently, Morrigan's room will not be quite as nice. So the way that hotel works is amazing, and it has all these magical rooms as well that do different things. So it has a smoking parlour, which is literally a parlour that produces different smelling smoke depending on the mood. So at Christmas time, I think it was kind of the smell of gingerbread. I might be wrong there, but that's kind of what I'm imagining now, thinking back to it. And staying at the Deucalion, there is this incredible singer who can bring wildlife towards her when she sings. There's a vampire dwarf who likes throwing the most fantastical parties. And then, of course, you've got Jupiter North, who's just a little bit crazy and so sweet and just a joy. And then there's also the hotel manager, Fenestra, who is basically a massive cat who has such attitude, does not like being messed with, and is incredibly grumpy and so much fun. The other things is Jessica Townsend really likes to take festivals and events such as Halloween or Christmas and just make them bigger. So the kind of Christmas scenes and Halloween scenes are some of my favourite. For example, there is a battle between Father Christmas and the Yule Queen every year to try and basically be like, who's going to be ruling Christmas this year? And it's glorious. You just want to be there. And this is why I think at the moment it's also the perfect read, because especially Hollowpox, which I've just read, the first few chapters are all just so Christmassy and cozy, and they make you feel so loved and happy. So that's another reason. And Jessica Townsend also said in an interview that I read that more than anything, she hopes that people will take a feeling of comfort and belonging in the world that she's built. And I couldn't agree more. The way that Morrigan is taken in by this family who aren't her blood family is just absolutely lovely. It does deal with things such as discrimination. There are a bunch of people who have animal-like qualities known as Wunimals. So for example, they might have, if you're a fox one, you might have little foxes and a little fox tail, or you might look mostly fox but have more human eyes. And there's a lot of discrimination towards these groups of people, which are the minority within Nevermoor. And it deals with that really well and kind of highlights the importance of accepting people for who they are, which I think is just lovely. There's also a female-female relationship, which I think is wonderful in a children's book. And the thing with this relationship is it doesn't point it out as being anything but normal, and that's how it should be in society. I feel so happy when I read this book. Even the bits which are a little bit more scary, a little bit more sinister, a little bit more dark, which does happen. For example, there's a museum which is a museum of people's last moments. So basically it's preserved loads of people's deaths. Yeah, pretty creepy. So it does have these quite dark elements within this fantasy magical world. But it's just a perfect piece of fiction. Yeah. I haven't said too much about the story because I don't want to give too much away, and I really hope you can all experience it for the first time, because it's one of these books that I'd love to just time travel backwards, sit down with a hot chocolate in front of a fire and experience it all over again. So I adored this series, if you hadn't noticed. Let me know if you've read the series, let me know if you're going to read the series, and I'd really recommend it as either a Christmas kind of themed book for yourself, or if you've got any kind of younger people in your family who like reading, this could be a great suggestion of what you could get them. Take care everyone, I will talk to you all soon.